All right. How's it going, guys? And welcome to a new episode of Spartan Ownership. And as you guys know, this channel is about being a man, about being a warrior. And today we've got a very special guest because the person is exactly that, actually, a man and a warrior. Part of some of the toughest warriors, actually, out today. Navy SEALs. Brad McLeod, is that how you say it?
Yeah, actually McLeod. Yeah.
Oh, McLeod, sorry.
Yep. No
Um,
worries.
yeah, so, and this channel, as you guys know, is not about me talking about my experience or necessarily myself as an authority figure, but it's rather my journey to becoming a better man and a warrior in the way that I can. So that's why I reach out to people like Brad and others to try to really embody the wisdom that they have. So, Brad, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself here?
Yeah, grew up here in North Florida, and just your average teenage boy. At 19, I decided to go into the Navy. Kind of against all odds. I decided I wanted to become a Navy SEAL, and I had no background whatsoever that would even remotely tell you that I could potentially do that. And went through buds the first time, washed out. It's really in terms of their attrition rate there, it's pretty high. A lot of guys. Our class ended up graduating like 16 guys out of 140. But I ended up going back through the second time and changed up everything that I knew that I wanted to do. In terms of training and all that, I trained all the wrong ways the first time. And so I completely changed up everything. And really one of the biggest things was just that I had to decide, is this truly what I want to do? I was kind of, going through it again the second time is, it's it's a big undertaking. It's like getting beat up, in whatever, in an MMA fight or something, and trying to go back and fight the same guy again, or climb some mountain that just blew you off the side of the mountain, trying to go back and get back on the horse. So. Um, but yeah, been out of the Navy here for quite a few years, but worked as a coach, as a trainer for I don't know 20 years plus, and yeah, now just travel around and help athletes, do a lot of online coaching, and so yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I think I remember seeing a video you did about your second entry and how you were telling guys how they should train. And I remember seeing this video like 5 years ago, I think, when I was contemplating joining the military and stuff. And yeah, I mean, I actually wanted to be a Marine and stuff my whole life. And
Right.
but then I kind of stopped wanting to be that like around 18ish because I started sort of doubting, I guess, the government. Like I wasn't sure if I could trust them, and I had this whole thing, and uh, and since then I basically decided that that I wanted to pursue this journey of becoming a warrior because that that drive to become a warrior never left me for some reason. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So with that being said, do you think that it's possible for men these days? I mean, because face it, right? Like you're probably seeing a lot of weakness in today's society with the men and how they are being and how they are like. What do you think is contributing to this mass sort of weakness that you see today in men?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote about it even just a little bit a few minutes ago. Sent out an email, and just talking about how, in general society, that we, this is, I say we, the masses glorify, the Kim Kardashians and Kanye, and essentially, if you don't even have never even done anything. You basically just, if you're a pop star and you've got bling and you've got a fancy car, you're instantly worshipped by the masses, and you could have no substance to you. You could be in fact, you even get what they call street cred when you have run-ins with the law. So it's almost like we have an upside down society, really, in that true leaders, or say men of character, are almost, they're not regarded with very high or with very high regard in terms of how our society looks at them. Nobody really wants to hear what they have to say. But if you're a foul-mouthed rapper, or or you've got gold around your neck or whatever, then you're the one that everyone wants to listen to. And it's my kids included. And no matter what I say or preach to them, it's so seductive, and everyone wants the comfort and the money and the fame and all that goes with it. And hard work is kind of put on a back burner. It's not even really discussed. It's not something that anyone wants to do. It's something that is avoided. We're so caught up in this trying to make everything so comfortable that we lost sight of that. In order to truly build character, you have to have tough times. I didn't live through it. Obviously, I'm not of the age, but even just say like the Depression. I mean, that's what built the greatest generation, the Depression. If you go back and read about that, those young men that, eagerly picked up arms to go overseas and fight in the trenches in Germany, or the Battle of the Bulge, or there in Normandy, or what have you, they were forged in the adversity of the Depression. And so I think that when we have a society that's had it so good for so long, that the masses, they crave that being comfortable all the time, and you end up with this like an upside down society where you have just the me generation. Or that me, that is just becomes a ruling. That's just the way that the lens that everything's looked through. I think that it's I don't know that in 2 minutes or 3 minutes you can really say what are all the factors,
right.
But I think that we've been led down a path that we've been seduced and led down a path that we didn't really know. We thought, we've just forgotten about a lot of the very things that really make a man or a woman or a warrior, that could make them strong, that could make them great. So I don't know if that really answers it, but that's my way of looking at it, is that when you don't have hardship, then you, I don't know that how, there's never been a great man or woman out there that hasn't had hardship in their life, so, yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. And a big part of Spartan ownership and the message that I've been trying to communicate and that I've been seeing, and I got to say, I agree, because it's like this addiction to, comfort and instant gratification and convenience. So,
right.
Yeah. And another thing too is like, so many people are so easily swayed by their emotions and their thoughts. And in today's society, there's so many distractions as well. I think that's another big contributor to this mass weakness. And what do you do to stay focused? Because there's so many different distractions these days. Like, you go on the internet, there's a million different pop-ups to buy a million things, and when you go out onto a busy street, there's all these ads, there's all these things that are trying to it's like there's a war for your mind, basically.
Oh yeah.
So
out.
How do you stay focused? Like, how do you destroy these distractions and stuff like that?
I mean, it's pretty easy. I just simplify it down. And, one of my big goals right now is to train for this big race that's coming up in August. I did it last year, and I'm going to do it again this year. And so really that, I have my goals written down of share my goals with other people that I know will support me. You never ever want to share your goals with someone who you even think may possibly try to bring you down or try to be negative or not support you.
Huh.
So I share my goals with other people that I know will support me. That's an accountability measure. And so then from there, it's just a matter of doing the right thing every day. Like this morning, I knew I had to go do deadlifts. Deadlifts are not the funnest thing to do in the world. I have an accountability partner. I was there at in the gym with my buddy there, workout buddy, and he knows what my goal is.
Right. Right. Awesome. So having an
So yeah.
accountability, it's all good. Having an accountability partner, that's an interesting thing that you say, because I literally just wrote an article yesterday called how to. It was basically about how to create an accountability group because I found that to be one of the most life-changing things, is having a few like-minded guys and really just holding each other accountable. And it's pretty awesome to hear that you do the same.
Yeah, no, I just really keep it simple. And sorry, I got somebody calling in there. Just really try to keep it simple. I mean, I know I get questions all the time of, how do you train? How do you do this? How do you do that? I just always try to keep it simple. And that was one of the biggest things, growing up, is that I really didn't have that. I mean, when you tell someone you're going to become a Navy SEAL and you're kind of growing up in a small town and you have nothing to back that up. I wasn't a letterman athlete in high school. I was not a grade A student. I had nothing whatsoever that potentially told other people that I had the makings of that. And so when I talked about becoming a Navy SEAL, just everyone just busted out laughing. They were like, "What?" I was like the Kansas farm boy who just fell out, had been out baling hay and just said, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna go to Hollywood and I'm gonna be a star." And imagine everybody in that town's just like, "What? Okay, yeah, let us know how that goes."
Yeah.
So my point in that is just that I learned early that I had to be very careful with my dream and who I shared it with.
Mm.
And so that later on in life,
Oh, I've been breaking up a bit there. Can't really hear you. Hello? Did you hear me?
down. I didn't have, just a simple thing of that. And so later on, when I went back to try to go for buds the second time, I really only shared that with those people I knew that I could trust, and I had it written down. Every day, this is what I'm going to do to train to get ready for buds. It was like on a shift. It was kind of good because it didn't have a whole lot of distractions. You don't have the internet or big screen TV, or I didn't have movies or whatever. You could go watch it, but I just ignored all that and I went straight to the gym, or I ate right, or I did a pull-up pyramid, or I read about I read a book that was going to help me improve my scores and buds. So it was an awakening to things that were really pretty simple methods that I just kept using over and over. And that's what I do now. I'm 50-something years old now. These are the things that I learned back in my 20s. And I just kept rinsing and repeating that no matter where I was at. I was in college. I went through, graduated college, put myself through college, with money that I saved. Same thing when I got into business. I spent 20 years as an entrepreneur up in Atlanta. And, essentially now, I'm standing right now at my dream house. I'm looking at, I don't know if you can hear the birds out here, but I'm sitting on my front porch and looking out at a 6,000 acre lakefront property. And, sorry, there's a bunch of people calling in right now.
It's all good.
But, my point, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to say I had dreams and had goals, and I just kept doing the same thing over and over, rinsing and repeating. So I learned those simple techniques, and I used them for buds. I did the same thing that when I was trying to do with business or what have you. So it's really it's kind of they're universal. It's just really basic universal principles. Yeah.
Hmm. That's so interesting. Like I found periodically when I hear something that stands out, I write it down so I could come back to it. And one of the things that struck me was you said you only share your goals with certain people, people that you trust. And if you feel in any way that that they might discourage you or put you on some sort of downward spiral, you don't even tell them, right?
Right.
That's so interesting because I was with I have a lot of friends and whatnot and family members, and some of them are pretty successful and some of them are doing big things. And every once in a while, if I share something with them, there's a few people that start to kind of put me down and basically make me doubt myself a lot. And and the reason they make me doubt myself is also because they've achieved a lot more than me, and they don't see the light in what I see. And they start to tell me stuff like, "Oh, that's never gonna work. Ah, that's impossible," or "You should
Yeah.
focus on something else." And it's like it pisses me off, but I take it seriously because they have the rep. But I definitely like that because I've been thinking lately I shouldn't even tell these people because they don't see it the way I see it. But what do you suggest that if someone's trying to find out what you do, but you already sense that they're going to put you down for it, how do you suggest dealing with them in that case?
I mean, I'm a little bit older. Maybe you can say it's like being a grumpy old man or whatever. But I really don't. I don't care. I mean, I'm at a point now in my life where, I guess I've kind of been around the world a few times and done a few things, and so I just ignore them. I just, yeah. I mean, I can already sense when I talk to someone. I can look at their body posture. I can listen to how they speak, and really just what they've accomplished in life. And so, it's a filtering process there that really those certain people. I'm not going to say everything. Every single interaction with other people, I've made the right choice. I have, even later in life, in my late 40s, I've made a few, and I think you're always going to make mistakes, but that you should just always be filtering, who that person is, what it is they stand for, and what it is that they've really accomplished. And when I say accomplishment, I mean some people think, oh, well, success that means money, and for me, that's completely changed. It never really was about money for me. I obviously went in the Navy SEALs. I was making like $12,000 a year,
Yeah,
and it's a pretty unglamorous job. You're out in the mud or wherever, and but that. So when I say accomplishment, for me, accomplishment's definitely not just because you build a big business doesn't mean you're accomplished by any measure. I mean, by only by that measure, by dollars. But you can. It doesn't take long to talk to most business owners, and you'll find out that they put all their time and energy into that business, and then their health is just sucks. They're 50, 60 pounds overweight. They're stressed out. They're smoking cigarettes. They're drinking excessively. They eat like shit. On and on and on. And so, pretty quickly you can see who it is you're going to share an idea with and who you're not. I mean, so I would just say, I just filter that out and really just try to stay away from those people too. Where you want to be around,
stay
you
away.
want to be around winners. You want to be around A players. You want to be around people that are going somewhere. And so I always strive, to find, I have other mentors. I have a business mentor people that I know that heading in the same direction that I'm heading in. So yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, that's definitely a key piece of advice right there because a lot of people are wasting a lot of time following people's advice that they don't even care about, or people's advice that didn't even wish you the best in the first place. So
Yeah.
definitely. And back to the thing about emotions, because we were talking about the Great Depression and how that forged a lot of tough people, and it's tough to find people today that are like that, obviously. And this
Yeah.
whole and the craziest thing is like we all have the genetics and we have it within us. We come from some of the greatest warriors in history throughout the times. The fact that we're alive today, we can count on the
Right.
fact that we come from lines of such strong people. And
Right.
with that being said, I briefly mentioned this before. Emotions and thoughts and all those things that come in between. How do you deal with that? Because you also talk about repetition. You just mentioned repetition. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, being a Navy SEAL has a lot to do with repetition, has a lot to do with discipline. I've read quite a few books on the Navy SEALs, and I've seen like all the documentaries. And it's so much discipline, so much repetition. Um, and how do you deal with that? Because it's like after a while, don't your emotions and your thoughts and everything just scream at you to stop? Like, how do you put them aside?
No, I mean, it depends on what the situation is. I mean, one of the good things that I did as an early teenager, young man, is that I learned about lifting weights. And um, that kind of hurt me at a certain level going into buds because I wasn't focusing as much on the running and body weight workouts and all that. But to cut to the chase, the point of it is that with the weights is that I had to be there in the gym every day. There were no excuses. Didn't matter whatever. If you were sick, tired, if you were, your mom couldn't. I mean, back then, mom dropped me off, stuff like that. I'd find a way. I'd walk or get on the bike or whatever. And that's something that that repetition, that discipline was built daily in the gym. And if you do that, obviously for weeks on end, months on end, years on end, even I've started when I was 16. By the time you're 19, you go into the Navy, you've got 3 years of just pounding weights and that discipline of being in the gym under the barbell time after time after time. And it just becomes something that you do. You don't, that's just becomes who you are. And even today, 5 days a week, I'm in the gym.
Awesome.
Uh, 4 days a week, I'm on my bike. Other than that, I'm still doing yoga or whatever. I couldn't even fathom a day without some type of exercise. And it's not even really all about the physical. It's about the mental and what it does for you and how it, cleans out your mind and your body and gets your blood pumping and all that. And so I really just look at it as that as a young man, I learned, you know, if I get under the barbell and I squat this amount and I come back and I have, keep records even today. This morning I was looking at last month's versus this month. And I said, okay, well, I know what I did, last month. I know this month I have to at least add 5 pounds or what have you. And so it just becomes very methodical in that you look at progressions and you say, well, if I'm making progress, then, this repetition, this works. And so when like with anything, like we crave progression, we crave progress. And when we see progress, when we're making good grades in school, and then we come home, we study even more. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And there's on and on. There's so many sectors of our society that we can look at, and how our brains are wired for this. Some people maybe more than others, but once you build a good addiction, it takes 21 days to build a habit, good or bad. And so when you can see progress, it could be as simple as, little Susie Q at the high school said, hey, man, you're looking good. Let me see your bicep. or it could be, something is, that someone really never sees other than your buddy you're lifting with is, your bench press went up, 5 pounds or 10 pounds or whatever. Or even today, I may go on a long endurance bike ride and, maybe I did better over the last 100 miles than I did the previous time. And so, I am addicted in a good way towards progress, and that discipline. I'll get in the gym, I'll go ride in the rain. It doesn't matter, as long as I know that I'm doing something for a good cause, whether it's building my mind, my body, or raising funds for veterans. If I'm tied into that, then that day-to-day discipline is there are maybe some hard moments there. Going to the gym early in the morning when it's raining or whatever, you could stay in bed and roll over and go to sleep. But when and when you visualize, you say, hey, I know I want to do well in this race this summer in the mountains, then hey, it's on.
Yeah,
Deadlifts today, it's on. This will help me progress. So
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, like I could definitely relate to that and see that, especially the part about building habits and becoming addicted to progress. And I gotta say, I'm definitely addicted to progress, and it definitely helps being, forming the habit, because then it kind of takes care of itself. Um, the battle that myself and a lot of people face, though, is it's this constant uh, impulsiveness, because you can be disciplined and everything, but then you go outside and next thing you know, you're buying a bag of chips, or you're buying this, or you're oversleeping and stuff. And
Yeah.
that's the part that it's hard to deal with. So what's your thought on that? Like to
Yeah.
elaborate a bit further on that, sorry, is when do you tell yourself it's okay to give in versus, like, how do you give yourself that balance of it's okay to give in, I'm not going to be disciplined today? Or do you pre-plan in advance, like, oh, this weekend I'll take a break? Or do you ever do anything deliberately, or is everything disciplined for the most part, if that makes sense?
No, I mean, it's at some level, I definitely have all these little small things where I'm not disciplined. I mean, I'm like anybody else. I had a Dairy Queen Oreo blizzard a couple of days ago, and I had what was it? Somebody on Facebook saw me. I was out with the family or whatever, and we were eating pizza, and they were like freaking out. They're like, "Oh my God, you're eating pizza!" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm a normal, I'm a normal guy, just like anybody else. So there's definitely moments where, I'll go off, say on diet or whatever. But I also know I have certain norms. There's a norm where I know that I have to be within a certain range in weight or body composition, fat. And I had, even last year, I had to auto correct myself. I'd got up to like 174, which was like completely out of my range by about 10 pounds or what have you. But it was then all of a sudden it clicked in, and Tony Robbins talks about this too. But that every person has an idea, a mental image of who they are, and everything we do, from our clothing to the car we drive to I'm sitting there looking at my dogs right now. The dogs that I have, everything that around you have sculpted and created, at some level, to reinforce this idea and this notion that you have of yourself. And so, if you begin to fall out of that, you have that mechanism to autocorrect, or whatever you want to say, using discipline, and say, okay, well, today I will go to the gym. Today I will go eat a salad and lean meat and tuna or whatever that is.
Right.
I'm going to go to yoga, whatever it is. And so some people lack that will. They've never known discipline, and so they don't have those mechanisms to put in place, sort of like a fencing or like a barrier to say, okay, now here's the line. We're not crossing that line.
Yeah.
They don't have, and they don't have a support group too. Not that I need a support group to lose 10 pounds. I don't. But I needed a mentor. I guess let me rephrase that. I needed a coach, and I did have a coach for that. So I think that really is what it boils down to, is that having those autocorrect mechanisms, having discipline, having will to say no. And especially, I grew up. I live here in the South now, so everybody down here, man, they just like full on. They love to eat fried chicken and banana pudding and I ain't gonna lie, man. If I go to family reunion or whatever, it's on.
Right.
I'm gonna eat 2 plates. But right after family reunion, when everybody else is laid out and getting ready to go lay down, go to sleep or whatever, it can be July in Alabama, and I guarantee you, I've gone on a 6 mile run in 98-degree Alabama hills because right after that, I'm like, I'm saying, my autocorrect just kicked in.
Right.
And it's, to make up for that. And so, some people are a lot more disciplined. I think of maybe an Olympic athlete or what have you, but really that's no different than the discipline that we had in BUDS or in the Navy SEAL team. There's a lot of disciplines that take place that you really can't shake. I don't think you can shake that later in life. When you build it in your 20s and 30s, it's just there. It's just, that's how you live. That's what you do.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, yeah.
So with that being said, for instance, I like the idea of creating a sort of standard for yourself, like saying, I'm going to be working out 3 times a week minimum, and 5 days a week, 6 days a week, I'll be eating healthy food, and 1 day a week I'll be eating unhealthy, or 1 day a week I can have some junk food if I want to. So by creating that standard for yourself, so what are your thoughts on this? Once you've created the standard, and once you've decided this is what I want, do you think that there's any time that you can tell yourself, it's okay, I'm not gonna, like, what are your thoughts on just keeping that at all times, no matter what's going on in your head? Or do you ever think that if you really don't want to do it, you could, relax that day?
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on, how committed you are to your goal. So I know that if I don't train hard, if I don't get under the barbell, if I don't eat clean most days of the week, then the mountains of North Georgia, it will punish you. well, the worst punishment of all is on day one, you're going to be at the 90-mile mark and you're going to quit. So for me, that's a fate worse than death, is to even think about that, So my instantly when I start to think of, what my goal is to ride and to do this race this summer, I know how hard it is. I was there. I did it twice last summer. And so I know there's only a certain amount I can slack off and still be able to get the job done. But I don't want to just get it done. I want to just, man, I want to say crush. I can't really crush the North Georgia mountains. I really want to do well.
Yeah.
And so I know that I have to do the work. So I think it's just for me, it's how committed I am to that goal and how well does that goal serve others. And I say serve others in that when I ride for charity. And so that has become something bigger than me, is that I can't let other people down.
Right.
And especially my own self, I can't let myself down. So I can't go into the race at 185 pounds, 20 pounds of blubber, and not being under the barbell and eating junk food 4 days a week. You're going to get crushed. You get absolutely crushed in those mountains. It's unforgiving. So I see that, and I know even when I'm talking about it right now, it's like I know how hard it will be.
Hmm.
And so that essentially ratchets up everything that I have to do to complete that goal.
Yeah, and a thing that stood out to me on that was you said you also have to be. I think you said accountable to yourself, or you. I think you used another word. Uh, but yeah, I think you said just keep your commitment to yourself is basically one of the things you said. And man, it's just I'm just trying to get to the point where I could set a standard for myself and I could just keep it. And it's just tough, man, because no one does it. No one does this except guys like you. And
You're preaching the choir, man. The warrior's path will never be easy. It will always be hard. It's intentionally hard. I have people email me all the time. There's like, I've got to work 60 hours. My wife this, my kids that. Blah blah blah. I'm tired. I'm pissed off. And hey, man, they're saying why they're not doing the workouts or why they're not eating right or why, on and on. I'm like, hey, this work is not going to get done by itself. And I understand it's any athlete who's ever stepped up to do anything great, they've had to go to bed late. They've had to wake up early. They've had to drive in the rain or whatever to get to the gym. They've had to give up ice cream and pizza. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Oh no, this path is not for everybody. It's not even for 99% of the people out there. It's not. They may pay lip service to it or give you, cheer you on or whatever, but they're not going to. Very few people are going to really go do the hard work. They're just not. But that's okay. That's not. I mean, the masses are who they are. That's fine. We understand that they're the sheep. That's okay. There will always be a society with sheep. There will always be a society with sheepdogs and warriors. There will always be a society with wolves.
Mm-hmm.
You not going to be able to exterminate the wolves. They're always going to be there.
Yeah.
It's just that's how this particular world, Earth, that's how it is. Yeah, I mean, it's just I'm simplifying it, I'm sure, but that's it.
So, like, let's say you say to yourself, I'm going to work out 5 days a week for the next year. If you say that, and it's like Sunday night, and you only worked out 4 days that week, but you got to wake up at 5 a.m. on Monday, and it's already like 1 a.m. on Sunday night, would you at that point still put in your fifth workout, or would you say, I could probably just do with the sleep tonight, and then next week I'll do the 5 workouts?
I'm actually big on sleep and recovery. And I would actually rather, as much as I say, go do the workout or whatever, I still realize, you got to sleep. And so you have to recover. And you want to keep your mind sane. So I would defer to the sleep. Mm-hmm. And I would just say, look, you just got to, this next week, you got to ratchet it up in terms of knocking out, however many workouts. And for me, I don't necessarily look at how many workouts. I look at the quality of the workout. So I look at, for me, I do progressions, whatever, like a Windler 531 starting strength type workout, obviously, squat, bench press, shoulder press, deadlift, what have you. So I look at progressions. And so I can go into the gym and I can, go do whatever XYZ workout, but how does that going to relate to the fitness that I need, the strength that I need to climb mountains in this summer? And so I look at the quality of that. Did I lift, today, whatever that was? And I know today I did better lifts than I did a month ago. So really, that's what I look at more. Like even with biking, you can have junk miles or you can have quality miles. So hills, repeats, all of that, which is the hard work to do. Everybody wants to jump on the bike and ride. Very few people want to ride with the A group or go out and just pound on the hills. It's boring as shit. But you got to do it if you're going to climb well in the mountain. So I just keep looking at the workout through a certain lens. Of how is it going to apply to what it is I'm trying to do.
Interesting. And with that being said, a lot of people, when it comes to working out and maintaining that discipline and everything, it's like they always look for someone else's. All right, I'll just give you an honest thing. Like for me, for instance, one of my biggest excuses is saying, I don't have a coach, or I don't have someone here to guide me, because, I was raised without a father figure. I was raised without any mentor, without any sort of role model. And, my mom was always working. I always had a babysitter around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I always had like this. When I was younger, I didn't have any discipline at all, and I had to form it recently, and it's painful sometimes. And one of my excuses sometimes is, man, if I had that discipline formed earlier, or if I had some sort of big brother or someone to kick my ass here in person, then I'd be more disciplined. But then I realize at the end of the day, it's like there's no one here to do it for me.
I know, man.
So
Yeah.
is being a warrior, is being a man, is a big part of that, sort of becoming your own kind of authority figure, your own mentor in a way?
Yeah, no, I've said it before, written about it before, is that you have to be your own coach, you have to be your own best cheerleader. It's probably a bad analogy or whatever, but in that you have to be the one that says in the morning when it's cold and rainy, okay, no, man, we're gonna get this thing done. I'm gonna get up, splash some water on my face, get some coffee, and I'm going to the gym.
Hmm.
You have to be your own best cheerleader. And the same thing, where it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you just lost a light on your bike and you're in the mountains, you got to ride till daybreak. It's like many times, I like to ride with others, and I prefer to ride with others, but sometimes it doesn't work. And you have to be your own best cheerleader. You have to be your own best coach. You have to have those affirmations locked in to your mind. And it's almost like a whole nother subject, and we could talk about it for a whole nother hour. But essentially, the masses, they live in they don't even know that they're in this type of thought pattern of the monkey mind. So most people drive around day-to-day work or whatever, and their mind just does whatever the hell it wants. They're bombarded with 10,000 different ideas, most of which suck, and the brain will tell them, "Oh, you're fat, you're ugly, you're this. You go to the gym, it's going to hurt." On and on. Your body's in like a preservation mode. It'll tell the mind, whatever. And so a lot of people are just locked into this monkey mind. They don't even know that there's a whole nother way of thinking out there, that you can actually wake up and say, hey, today's going to be a good day. It's setting your intention.
Mm-hmm.
They have no clue that you can actually have a ritual. Mine, when I step out of bed, is my first 2 feet. It sounds kind of corny, but my first 2 feet, my one foot hits the floor, says thank. The other one hits the floor, says you. As I walk to the bathroom, I say, thank you, thank you, thank you. I set my intention right from the day of how I'm going to think.
Yeah.
I don't let the monkey mind do whatever it wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so really, there's billions of people that are essentially driving around on the interstate. They're at work, they're around the water cooler or whatever. They're just letting the monkey mind just think whatever it wants to think. And so, that's a long way of saying is that in order to be your own best coach, your own best cheerleader, you need to know that you have the ability to override your mind and allow your mind to think the way that you want it to think. And so many people are caught in these, what's called like a deep groove. And again, this is like a whole nother hour, 2-hour talk, to get into. But a deep groove would be essentially that, I never had a father figure, or, I've always been overweight and people always picked on me and I'm really not that good at anything. Well, if you say that for so long, weeks and months and years, you establish what's called a deep groove. It's like the old 45 records. Record get caught in a groove and it'll skip, and then you're repeating. It just says the same thing over and over and over again. Someone that knows how to either unplug or demolish or rewrite the hard drive. If you know how to rewrite that hard drive, you say, no, it really doesn't matter what they say about me. It's what I believe, and this is what's going to happen. And I said at an early age, I had no clue what deep groove or monkey mind. Never even heard those terms.
Right.
But I got very, very, very lucky in that I had a very strong vision of who I wanted to become, and that overrode even my own deep grooving of what I told myself I was and other people told me that I was. I was short, I was unathletic, I was this, I was that, I sucked. And, I had believed that to a certain point. I think weightlifting too, that discipline, it enabled me to see that I had something more inside of me that I could actually progress. And that is that progression helped to build my mind, build my body, and help me to escape that monkey mind. And like I say, I know it's a whole other subject, but it is definitely tied into being your own best coach. A lot of people, when they meet adversity, the first thing they say is, oh man, I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm sweaty. Oh, damn, my shin, I'm bloody. My feet hurt. Oh, I'm blistered. I'm this, I'm that. Those are just temporary pains. And not even pain, it's being uncomfortable. But if you know how to take charge of your own you have to take charge of your own computer hard drive and essentially pull back the monkey mind and see through. You're just like cleaning the window. It's like a window that has been bugs splattered on it and whatever, it's dirt and grime and all this stuff, and you break out the Windex. I'm using just a visual mechanism to say, I'm going to clean all this up. Wow, now I can see what's out in front of me. That's what you're doing in your mind. You're vacuuming, you're cleaning your mind of all these negative thoughts or thoughts that have no use. And now you boil it down to what are the essential things that I really need to do. It's 2:00 in the morning, it's raining, my light's out on my bike, I don't have anybody to ride with. Okay, what is the next thing, the right thing that I need to do? Okay, and sit down for a second. Put out my tarp, get something warm in my body, collect my thoughts. Okay, hey, I've only got 78 miles left to go, and I know I'm doing this for a cause, which is veterans. Do you think there's another veteran out there sitting laid up in a bed right now that has it worse than I do? Hell fucking yeah. Well, then get off your ass and do something about it. Okay, got something in my belly now. Pack up my tarp. Okay, put another battery in my light. Okay, I got 78 miles to go. I'm in temporary discomfort, but I will finish the drill. I'm being my own best cheerleader right there. And I clear back the monkey mind, and I saw clearly what I needed to do. I've only got 78 miles to go. I can put my bike on my back. I'm not trying to sound macho. You can walk 78 miles to finish the drill if you believe in yourself. If you let the monkey mind take over, you're going to sit right there and be a little bitch, and you're going to quit. That's the difference right there. That's the best way I can explain it.
Beautiful, beautiful, very powerful. And just to end this off here, are you basically giving permission? Because a lot of it is, I know as weird as it sounds, but it's like we need to hear it from someone else. Are you giving myself and others permission to actually believe in themselves and ignore other people's voices, ignore other people's stuff, and believe in ourselves and be our own authority? Are you giving us permission?
Yeah, but I think the key right in there is ignore those that are negative and going nowhere and doing nothing. Gravitate towards those that are kicking ass in life and are positive and getting stuff done. But yes, absolutely. We have to believe. If you don't believe in yourself, it's hard for others to do that. So you have to be the first one to stand up and just say, "Hey, I am worthy. I am worthy of at least attempting to climb this mountain, to go for the gold." And so you have to build that your own self worth, which later translates into more self confidence. And guess what? Self confidence builds on itself, and you have more confidence. We
Mm.
just saw it here in the March Madness basketball. Those teams that make a few scores, all of a sudden they make more and more scores because now they're confident and they're like, "Hey, we can play with these guys." So yeah, I mean, I fully um, give everyone authority. I encourage them. I breathe life into them to say yes. Believe in yourself. Be your own best cheerleader. Um, get rid of the monkey mind, or control. Know what to do with the monkey mind by observing it and cleaning everything out, so you can look through and see what it is you truly need to do.
Hmm.
And you know, so yeah,
Thank you.
it's a
Authority
statement,
taken.
but yeah, you definitely want to do that.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for that, and I will definitely try to, because the monkey mind is definitely a big thing. My brain,
Yeah,
my brain knows it the most. I mean, I have so much impulsive
yeah,
programming and crap from childhood and stuff that I try to deal with, and it's tough to be disciplined sometimes. But I think the first step is to just clear the monkey mind, make sure that it's clear, and then once it is, keep taking action. Correct?
yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, as you clean that monkey mind stuff back, and then just and get right back into what is your goal, what is your task, what is it that you need to get done. And so it can be like for me, it's doing that big ride this summer, raising money for the Navy SEAL Foundation.
Hmm.
And I know I'm not going to let anything get in my way of getting that done within reason. I obviously need to be a good person in society and be a good family man and all that. I'm not going to go just train and keep my head down and be antisocial or whatever. But at the same time, within reason, I'm going to train hard and get that done.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for this, and I sure benefited a lot from this conversation, and I know for a fact that all the guys listening, because this is mostly a channel for men, so all the guys listening will definitely grow stronger from this, because this is, you're a very good example of the kind of person that people need to listen to more these days, instead of the Kanye Wests and the I don't know if you heard about that girl from uh, she was on some show like Dr. Phil, disobeying her mom and being all ghetto. She's like 13 years old, getting into fights and stuff, and now she's gonna have her own reality TV show, and she has like 15 million followers on Instagram. you know.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of people everyone's
Yep.
listening to, and I'm
I
trying to
know.
reverse that trend here, and I really
Yeah.
appreciate you giving your time here. I really do. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Brad.
No, hey, thanks for having me. I was very humbled to be on your show here, and yeah, man, I'm just very thankful. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Brad. You've changed lives today, and I will send you the link once this is out. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Let me know. I'll post the link up on our site and get it out to our followers, and maybe between the two of us, we'll have 15 million followers, and we'll be out there changing lives for the better.
I believe in myself now. You gave me the
Yeah,
permission, so
yeah,
all
man. All
right,
right.
man. I'll talk to you.
Okay, man. All
Bye
right.
bye.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye bye.